The lawyer slid a sealed black envelope across the polished mahogany table. No one breathed. No one moved. 3 grown children sat frozen in their expensive black clothes, still carrying the smell of funeral flowers on their coats. Their father, Richard Carter, was dead. A billionaire. A legend. A man who built an empire from nothing. And now everything he owned was about to be divided. The mansion. The company. The private island. The bank accounts. The secrets. Jonathan Carter leaned forward first. He had waited his entire life for this moment. Claire Carter dabbed at dry eyes with a silk handkerchief. Amelia Carter sat quietly at the end of the table, wondering why she felt more afraid than sad. The lawyer adjusted his glasses. Then he said the words that shattered the family forever. Lawyer. Richard Carter left the majority of his estate to someone not present in this room. Jonathan's jaw tightened. Jonathan. Excuse me. The lawyer opened the envelope. Lawyer. The beneficiary is named Emma Grace Carter. Claire laughed once. Cold. Sharp. Claire. That's impossible. There is no Emma Carter. The lawyer looked up. His face was pale. Lawyer. According to your father's instructions, Emma Grace Carter is his firstborn daughter. Silence. Then Amelia whispered the question everyone was too afraid to ask. Amelia. Firstborn? The lawyer nodded. Then he placed a second envelope on the table. Across the front, written in Richard Carter's own hand, were 4 words. For the children I failed. Act 1. The funeral. Richard Carter's funeral looked less like a goodbye and more like a business meeting dressed in black. News cameras waited outside the iron gates. Senators stepped from dark cars. Executives spoke in low voices beneath marble columns. Former friends shook hands with enemies. Everyone wanted to be seen grieving the billionaire. But very few had known the man. Amelia Carter stood beside her father's casket and stared at his face. He looked smaller than she remembered. Less powerful. Less frightening. For most of her life, Richard Carter had been a storm in a suit. He could enter a room and make confident men stumble over their own words. He could destroy careers with one phone call. He could make charities cry with gratitude and his own children cry in silence. Amelia had not spoken to him in almost a year. Their last conversation had ended with him saying, Richard, you always run when things become difficult. And Amelia replying, Amelia. No, Dad. I run when people keep hurting me and call it love. Those were the last words she had ever said to him. Now he was gone. And no apology would ever come. Across the church, Jonathan Carter stood tall in a tailored black suit. At 46, he looked like their father's shadow. Same hard jaw. Same cold eyes. Same belief that love was something people earned through obedience. Jonathan was already whispering with board members. Even at the funeral, he was counting votes. Claire Carter sat in the front pew with her designer sunglasses covering half her face. She had posted a tribute to Richard that morning. 3 photos. 1 quote. A black heart emoji. The comments were filled with strangers calling her strong. But Amelia knew Claire had not visited their father in months unless she needed money. Then there was the woman. Amelia noticed her near the back of the church. Elderly. Thin. Dressed in a plain navy coat. She stood alone beneath a stained glass window, watching the casket with an expression Amelia could not understand. Not grief exactly. Not anger. Something deeper. Something older. When the choir began singing, the woman reached into her pocket and touched something small. A photograph, maybe. Then she turned and left before the service ended. Amelia almost followed her. But Jonathan caught her arm. Jonathan. Don't wander off. The lawyer wants us at the house after this. Amelia pulled her arm away. Amelia. I know where I'm supposed to be. Jonathan's eyes narrowed. Jonathan. Do you? Before Amelia could answer, the church bells began to ring. The sound rolled through the building like thunder. And somewhere outside, the mysterious woman disappeared into the rain. The Carter Mansion. The Carter Mansion sat on 50 acres of private land. Stone walls. Iron gates. A driveway long enough to make guests feel small before they ever reached the front door. Amelia had grown up there. but it had never felt like home. It felt like a museum where children were expected not to touch anything. The grand foyer smelled of lemon polish and old money. Portraits of Richard hung on the walls. Richard shaking hands with presidents. Richard cutting ribbons. Richard standing beside ships, buildings, factories, and smiling employees. A man celebrated by the world. Feared by his family. The siblings gathered in the library. Jonathan poured himself a drink. Claire sat on the velvet sofa and crossed her legs. Amelia remained standing. The lawyer, Mr. Whitaker, opened a leather folder. He had served Richard Carter for 32 years. He looked exhausted. Whitaker, before we begin, I want to make one thing clear. Your father made these decisions while mentally sound. His physicians confirmed it. His signatures were witnessed. There is no legal ambiguity. Jonathan smirked. Jonathan, that sounds like something you say when you already know we're not going to like it. Mr. Whitaker looked at him. Whitaker, you will not. Claire sat upright. Claire, just read it. Mr. Whitaker unfolded the will. His voice was steady. At first, Richard left money to longtime staff. The housekeeper cried in the hallway when she heard. He left college funds for the grandchildren of factory workers. He left land to environmental preservation. He left $100 million to a children's hospital. Claire's mouth slowly opened. Jonathan stopped drinking. Amelia felt something shift in the room. This was not what anyone expected. Then Mr. Whitaker reached the final section. Whitaker, the controlling shares of Carter Global Industries, all remaining personal property, including real estate holdings, private investments, art, vehicles, accounts, and the Carter Family Trust, shall be transferred to Emma Grace Carter. The room went silent. Then Jonathan slammed his glass on the table. Jonathan, who the hell is Emma Grace Carter? Claire stood. Claire, this is a joke. Mr. Whitaker did not blink. Whitaker, no. Jonathan pointed at him. Jonathan, you expect us to believe our father had another child and nobody knew? Mr. Whitaker lowered his eyes. Whitaker, somebody knew. Amelia's heart began to pound. Amelia, did you? The lawyer hesitated. That was enough. Jonathan laughed bitterly. Jonathan, you knew. Whitaker, I knew what your father allowed me to know. Claire's voice rose. Claire, and where is this Emma? Hiding? Waiting to steal everything. Mr. Whitaker reached into the folder and withdrew a sealed envelope. Whitaker, your father left a letter. He opened it. The paper trembled slightly in his hands. Then Richard Carter's words entered the room like a ghost. Richard's letter. Whitaker, my children, by the time this letter is read, I will be gone. I know what you expected from me. Money, power, titles, control. Those are the only languages I taught you fluently. For that, I am sorry. There was a time before the company. Before the mansion. Before the name Carter meant anything to anyone. There was a woman named Eleanor. And there was a child named Emma. Emma Grace Carter was my first daughter. I lost her. No, that is a coward sentence. I abandoned her. For years, I told myself I had no choice. I told myself ambition demanded sacrifice. I told myself I would return when I was powerful enough to fix what I had broken. But power does not fix cowardice. It only gives it better furniture. I searched for Emma for 25 years. I found her too late. This inheritance is not a reward. It is a confession. If you hate me for this, you're entitled to that hatred. If you contest this will, you will lose more than money. You will lose the last chance I have given this family to become something better than what I made it. Find Emma. Not for the fortune. For the truth. Richard Carter. Mr. Whitaker stopped reading. The room felt airless. Claire whispered. Claire. Eleanor. Jonathan turned away. Amelia looked at the portraits on the wall. Her father's painted face stared back at her. Proud. Untouchable. A lie in a gold frame. The war begins. By sunrise, the Carter family was at war. Jonathan called attorneys before breakfast. Claire called a crisis publicist. Amelia called no one. She sat in her childhood bedroom, staring at rain sliding down the windows. Emma Grace Carter. A sister. A stranger. A ghost. She tried to remember anything. A hidden photograph. A whispered name. A fight overheard through walls. But Richard Carter had built his life like he built his company. With locked doors. Jonathan found Amelia in the hallway outside their father's study. Jonathan. You're not buying this, are you? Amelia. I don't know what I'm buying. Jonathan. Dad was manipulated. Amelia. By who? Jonathan. Whitaker. Some woman. Maybe this fake daughter. Amelia. You heard the letter. Jonathan stepped closer. Jonathan. I heard guilt. Old men get sentimental before death. That doesn't mean we hand over $1 billion company to a librarian or waitress or whatever she is. Amelia frowned. Amelia. You already found her? Jonathan's silence gave him away. Amelia. Jonathan. He looked irritated. Jonathan. I hired people last night. Amelia. You had investigators search for our sister before even asking if she was okay? Jonathan. She is not our sister until proven otherwise. Amelia. She is Dad's name. Jonathan. She has Dad's money. That's what matters. There it was. The Carter family truth. Money first. Blood second. Love last if there was time. Jonathan pushed open the door to Richard's study. Jonathan. We need to search everything before lawyers lock it down. Amelia followed. The study smelled like leather, smoke, and secrets. Richard's desk sat beneath a wall of books. Everything was neat. Too neat. Jonathan went straight for the drawers. Claire arrived moments later carrying coffee and anger. Claire. I found nothing online. No Emma Grace Carter connected to Dad. Jonathan. Because she's fake. Amelia ignored them. Something about the room bothered her. Richard had always kept one shelf empty. As a child, Amelia thought it was strange. A billionaire with thousands of books, yet one blank space in the center of the room. Now a single brass key sat there. Small. Old. Waiting. Amelia picked it up. Jonathan noticed. Jonathan. What's that? Amelia. I don't know. She ran her fingers along the empty shelf. There was a click. The bookcase shifted. Claire gasped. Behind it was a narrow door. Jonathan stared. Jonathan. Open it. Amelia inserted the key. The door unlocked. Inside was a hidden room. No windows. No furniture. Only boxes. Dozens of them. All labeled by year. And one name repeated again and again. Emma. The hidden room. The room was not dusty. That made it worse. Someone had cared for it. Updated it. Protected it. Amelia opened the first box. Inside was a pink baby blanket. A silver rattle. A hospital bracelet. Name, Emma Grace Carter. Father, Richard Carter. Mother, Eleanor Hayes. Claire covered her mouth. Jonathan went pale. Claire. Oh my God. Amelia opened another box. Letters. Hundreds of them. Some addressed. None sent. She picked one up. The date was 27 years old. Her father's handwriting was younger then. Messier. Desperate. Amelia. Emma, today you would be 4. I don't know if you like dolls or books or mud puddles. I bought all 3, just in case. Amelia's voice broke. She picked up another. Amelia. Emma, today you would be 10. I saw a girl laughing outside a school and thought it might be you. I followed the car for 6 blocks before realizing I had become the kind of man people fear. Claire sat on the floor. Jonathan said nothing. For once, he had no speech prepared. In the back of the room was a locked metal cabinet. Amelia used the same brass key. Inside were journals. Richard's private journals. The first page read, Eleanor left today. Emma is gone. I deserve this. Eleanor. The journals told a story Richard Carter had buried beneath skyscrapers. Before the empire, before the headlines, Richard had been a mechanic's son with oil under his nails and impossible dreams. He met Eleanor Hayes at a public library. She was a schoolteacher. Kind. Brilliant. Stubborn. She believed books could save people. Richard believed money could. They were both wrong and right in ways neither understood yet. They fell in love quickly. Too quickly, according to everyone. Eleanor became pregnant. Richard proposed with a cheap ring he bought after selling his motorcycle. For 1 year, they were poor and happy. Then came Victor Lang, a ruthless investor. A man who saw Richard's talent and wanted to own it. Victor offered Richard money, access, power. But he had conditions. No distractions. No poor fiancé. No baby. No weakness. Richard refused at first. Then the pressure began. Deals disappeared. Threats arrived. Eleanor was followed. One night, someone broke into their apartment and left Emma's crib turned upside down. No one was hurt. That was the message. Next time, someone would be. Richard went to Victor in a rage. Victor smiled. Victor, you want to build an empire? Then stop pretending you can bring a cradle into a battlefield. Richard came home changed. Eleanor saw it immediately. Eleanor, what did he say to you? Richard couldn't look at her. Richard, he said I can protect you better from a distance. Eleanor stared at him. Eleanor, no, that is what cowards call leaving. They fought all night. By morning, Eleanor was gone. So was Emma. Richard thought she would return. She didn't. Years passed. The company grew. The guilt grew faster. Richard hired investigators. He chased false leads across states. He found women named Eleanor. Girls named Emma. Graves. Adoption records. Nothing. Until 1 month before his death. He found them. Amelia's decision. Amelia read until sunrise. When she finally looked up, Jonathan was gone. Claire had fallen asleep against a box of letters. Amelia closed the journal and made a decision. She would find Emma. Not with lawyers. Not with threats. Not with investigators. She would go herself. Mr. Whitaker gave her the address. A small town called Belhaven. 6 hours away. Whitaker. Your father asked that you be the one. Amelia. Why me? The old lawyer looked tired. Whitaker. Because he believed you still had a heart that could survive this family. Amelia did not know whether to feel honored or insulted. Maybe both. Emma Grace Carter. Belhaven was nothing like the Carter world. No gates. No cameras. No marble floors. Just a main street with a bakery, a diner, a church, and a library with blue shutters. Amelia sat in her car across from the library for 20 minutes before going inside. A bell chimed above the door. The building smelled like paper, coffee, and rain. Children sat in a circle near the front while a woman read aloud. She was in her early 30s. Soft brown hair. Gentle face. Simple blue dress. No diamonds. No designer bag. No idea that she was worth almost $2 billion. This was Emma. Amelia knew before asking. There was something in her expression. Something familiar. Not Richard's hardness. His sadness. Emma looked up. Emma. Hi. Can I help you find something? Amelia forgot every speech she had practiced. Amelia. I think. I found you. Emma tilted her head. Emma. I'm sorry. Amelia's hands shook. Amelia. My name is Amelia Carter. The smile faded from Emma's face. For a moment, the library disappeared. Only the name remained. Carter. Emma slowly closed the book. Emma. You need to leave. Amelia blinked. Amelia. Please. I just want to talk. Emma. No. You want something. People with that name always want something. The children's assistant stepped forward. Emma forced a calm smile. Emma. Story time is over for today. Minutes later, Amelia stood outside in the rain. Emma joined her beneath the awning. Her voice was quiet, but firm. Emma. Richard Carter is dead, isn't he? Amelia nodded. Emma looked away. No tears. Just a long breath. Emma. My mother said this day might come. Amelia. You knew about him? Emma. I knew his name. I knew he was rich. I knew he made a choice. Amelia. He left you everything. Emma laughed softly. Not amused. Almost sad. Emma. Of course he did. Amelia. You're not surprised? Emma. My mother said guilt is heavy. Rich men usually try to pay someone else to carry it. Amelia flinched. Amelia. I'm not here to hurt you. Emma studied her. Emma. Maybe not. But hurt travels in families. It learns new voices. The farmhouse. Emma agreed to speak only if Amelia came to dinner. No lawyers. No recordings. No Jonathan. No Claire. Emma lived in a small white farmhouse at the edge of town. There were flowers by the porch. Wind chimes near the door. A dog sleeping under the steps. Inside, the home was warm and ordinary. The kind of home Amelia had seen in movies and envied without understanding why. An elderly woman stood at the kitchen sink. Amelia froze. It was the woman from the funeral. The one in the navy coat. Eleanor Hayes. Older now. Thinner. But her eyes were sharp. She turned. Eleanor. You look like him. Amelia swallowed. Amelia. I'm sorry. Eleanor dried her hands. Eleanor. People say that when they don't know what else to offer. Emma touched her mother's arm. Emma. Mom. Eleanor softened. Only a little. Dinner was quiet at first. Soup. Bread. Rain tapping the windows. Then Amelia told them about the will. The hidden room. The letters. The birthday gifts. Emma stared at the table. Eleanor closed her eyes. Eleanor. He kept them. Amelia. All of them. Eleanor's voice lowered. Eleanor. That fool. Amelia looked at her. Amelia. You loved him. Eleanor did not answer immediately. Eleanor. Yes. Emma looked stunned. Emma. Mom. Eleanor reached for her daughter's hand. Eleanor. Love was never the question. Safety was. The truth about the night they left. For the first time in 30 years, Eleanor told the story. Not Richard's version. Hers. The night she left, she had not run because Richard chose money. She ran because Victor Lang's men came back. One stood outside Emma's daycare. Another followed Eleanor through a grocery store. Then a photograph appeared in their mailbox. Emma asleep in her crib. Taken from inside the apartment. Eleanor knew then. Richard could not protect them. Not because he didn't love them. Because he loved power too much to see clearly. So she disappeared. Changed her name. Moved from town to town. Raised Emma in quiet places. Libraries. Church basements. Farmhouses. She kept Richard away because she believed his world would destroy Emma. Eleanor. I told myself he would stop looking. Amelia. He didn't. Eleanor wiped one tear quickly, angry at it. Eleanor. No. He never did know when to quit. Emma stood and walked to the window. Emma. So my whole life was built around fear. Eleanor's face crumpled. Eleanor. It was built around keeping you alive. Emma. And keeping me from my father. Eleanor. Yes. The truth sat between them like a fourth person at the table. Amelia realized then that there were no clean villains in this story. Only choices. Some selfish. Some desperate. All costly. The family strikes back. While Amelia sat in a farmhouse learning the truth, Jonathan declared war. He filed an emergency petition to freeze the estate. He claimed Richard had been manipulated. He accused Emma of fraud. He leaked the story to the press. By morning, every headline screamed. Secret daughter inherits Carter billions. News vans arrived in Belhaven. Reporters crowded outside the library. Emma's quiet life vanished overnight. Claire appeared on television wearing black and pearls. Claire. My family is grieving. We only want the truth. But her eyes said something else. We want the money. Amelia called Jonathan furious. Amelia. What have you done? Jonathan. What Dad should have done years ago. Controlled the situation. Amelia. You exposed her. Jonathan. She exposed herself when she accepted the inheritance. Amelia. She hasn't accepted anything. Jonathan paused. Jonathan. She will. Amelia. You don't know that. Jonathan. Everyone accepts money eventually. Amelia hung up. For the first time in her life, she truly hated him. Emma breaks. Emma tried to keep working. She tried to smile at the children. She tried to pretend strangers were not photographing her through library windows. But by noon, She locked herself in the storage room and cried. Amelia found her sitting on the floor between boxes of donated books. Emma, I didn't ask for any of this. Amelia, I know. Emma, I don't want his money. Amelia, I know. Emma, then why does it feel like your family has already stolen something from me? Amelia sat beside her. Amelia, because we have. Emma looked at her. Amelia's voice shook. Amelia, my father stole your childhood with him. My brother stole your privacy. My sister stole your peace. And I. She stopped. Emma, you what? Amelia, I almost came here hoping you'd be awful. Greedy. Fake. Something that would make this easier. Emma gave a sad smile. Emma, am I disappointing you? Amelia, completely. For the first time, Emma laughed. A small laugh. But real. The cabin. 30 days after the funeral, Mr. Whitaker called Amelia. Whitaker, your father left you one final envelope. Inside were coordinates, a deed, and a note. Richard's note. Take Emma there. Do not take Jonathan. Do not take Claire. Some truths cannot survive an audience. The coordinates led deep into the mountains. Amelia asked Emma to come. Emma refused. Then Eleanor said, Eleanor, you should go. Emma stared at her mother. Emma, why? Eleanor's eyes filled. Eleanor, because I saw what grief did to him. And I think you deserve to know all of it. Not just my half. So Emma went. The cabin was small, old, hidden behind pine trees. Richard had bought it under another name decades ago. Inside, dust floated through sunlight. There was a fireplace, a wooden table, a wall covered in photographs. Emma stepped inside and stopped breathing. Photos of her. As a baby, a toddler, a schoolgirl, a teenager. Some were blurry, some taken from far away. Amelia understood with horror. Richard's investigators had found glimpses over the years. Not enough to reach her. Enough to ache. Boxes lined the walls, each labeled with a birthday. Emma opened the first. Age 5. A stuffed rabbit. A card. A tiny yellow raincoat. She opened another. Age 12. A stack of adventure books. A silver bracelet. A letter. Her hands shook as she read. Richard's letter. Emma, today you are 12. If you are anything like your mother, you are stubborn, brilliant, and impossible to impress. I hope someone made you a cake. I hope you laughed today. I hope you never felt the hole I left. I hope that is a mercy granted to you, even if it is a punishment to me. Emma pressed the letter to her chest. Then she opened another. Age 18. A graduation necklace. A keychain shaped like a globe. A note that said, Richard's letter. Go everywhere. Become anything. Do not let anyone named Carter teach you that love must be earned. Emma began to cry. Not loudly. Not dramatically. Just quietly, as if a locked room inside her had finally opened. Amelia stood back, giving her space. Then Emma found the final box. It had no age. Only her name. Inside was a videotape. And a note. Play this when she is ready. Richard's confession. The old television in the cabin still worked. Barely. The screen flickered. Static hissed. Then Richard Carter appeared. Older. Sick. Thinner than the portraits. For once, he looked like a man instead of a monument. Richard. Emma. Emma covered her mouth. Richard's recorded eyes seemed to search for her across time. Richard. If you are watching this, then Amelia found you. Good. She was always the brave one, even when I punished her for it. Amelia looked down. Richard. I have written letters for years, but words on paper let cowards hide. So I wanted you to see my face when I say this. He inhaled shakily. Richard. I failed you. Emma cried harder. Richard. I loved your mother. I loved you. But love without courage is just a pretty excuse. When danger came, I chose the wrong battlefield. I thought if I became powerful enough, no one could touch us. By the time I understood that power was the danger, you were gone. The tape crackled. Richard. I do not ask you to forgive me. Forgiveness is not inheritance. It cannot be transferred. It cannot be demanded. It must be freely given, and you owe me nothing. Emma whispered. Emma. Then why leave me everything? Richard seemed almost to answer. Richard. I left you the fortune because you are the only one who never bowed to it. Jonathan worships power. Claire performs pain for profit. Amelia. Amelia still has a chance. And you, Emma, were raised outside the sickness I created. He leaned closer to the camera. Richard. Use it. Burn it. Give it away. Refuse it. I do not care. I only wanted, at the end of my life, for the empire built from my worst choice to become something better in your hands. The tape went silent for a moment. Then Richard's voice softened. Richard. Your mother was right to leave. Emma froze. Richard. She saved you. Hate me if you must. But do not hate her for surviving what I invited into your lives. Eleanor, watching later, would weep at those words. On screen, Richard gave one final, broken smile. Richard. Happy birthday, Emma. For every year I missed. For every candle I never saw. For every story I never read you. I loved you badly. But I loved you always. The tape ended. Static filled the room. Emma sat motionless. Then she whispered. Emma. I don't know how to be his daughter. Amelia sat beside her. Amelia. Neither do I. The hearing. The courtroom was packed. Reporters lined the walls. Jonathan's lawyers argued Richard had been unstable. Claire's lawyers argued undue influence. Emma sat quietly. She wore a simple gray dress. No jewelry except the bracelet Richard had bought for her 12th birthday. Amelia sat behind her. Jonathan avoided her eyes. Claire looked nervous for the first time. Then Mr. Whitaker played the video. The courtroom listened to Richard Carter confess. Not legally. Humanly. When it ended, no one spoke. The judge reviewed medical documents. Private records. DNA evidence. Years of journals. Letters. Investigative reports. Then she looked at Emma. Judge. Ms. Carter, do you intend to accept the inheritance? Jonathan leaned forward. Claire held her breath. Emma stood. Emma. Yes. A murmur spread through the room. Jonathan smiled bitterly, as if proven right. Then Emma continued. Emma. But not for myself. Jonathan's smile vanished. Emma. I accept because Richard Carter spent his life building something broken. I can't change what he did. I can't give myself back the father I never knew. But I can decide what his money does next. She turned toward Jonathan and Claire. Emma. I will not let this fortune become another weapon. Then she faced the judge. Emma. I intend to create the Carter Grace Foundation. It will fund children's hospitals, shelters, education programs, employee pensions, and legal protections for families harmed by corporate abuse. The courtroom erupted. The judge called for order. Amelia felt tears fill her eyes. Jonathan looked stunned. Claire looked ashamed. For the first time, Emma sounded like Richard Carter's daughter. Not because she wanted power. Because she was willing to carry responsibility. Consequences. Jonathan lost the lawsuit. He also lost his position at Carter Global Industries. The board voted him out after discovering he had leaked confidential documents to damage Emma's claim. For weeks, he disappeared from public life. Claire's reputation collapsed after private messages showed she planned to sell interviews about Emma. Sponsors dropped her. Friends stopped calling. But ruin did something money never had. It made her quiet. Amelia expected never to hear from her. Then one night, Claire appeared at Amelia's apartment. No makeup. No cameras. No performance. Claire. I don't know who I am without people watching. Amelia opened the door wider. Amelia. Come in. Claire cried for an hour. Not prettily. Not softly. Honestly. It was a beginning. Jonathan's apology took longer. 6 months. He arrived at the foundation office, where Emma was reviewing plans for a children's home. He looked thinner. Older. Less certain. Jonathan. I thought Dad owed me everything. Emma looked up. Emma. And now? Jonathan swallowed. Jonathan. Now I think he owed us better. Emma nodded. Emma. He did. Jonathan. I'm sorry. Emma studied him. Emma. I believe you. Jonathan's eyes filled with hope. Emma added gently, "Emma, but forgiveness is not the same as access." He nodded. It hurt, but he accepted it. That, too, was a beginning. Final act. The foundation. 1 year later, the Carter Grace Foundation opened its first children's center in Belhaven. There were no gold statues, no giant portraits. Emma refused them. Instead, the entrance wall held one sentence: "Love should never be something a child has to earn." Amelia became CEO of Carter Global Industries. Not because Richard gave it to her. Because the board voted unanimously. She restructured the company, raised wages, protected pensions, closed the divisions built on exploitation. Profits dipped. Then trust grew. And for the first time in decades, the Carter name meant something other than fear. Eleanor lived long enough to see the center open. She sat in the front row, holding Emma's hand. After the ceremony, Emma and Amelia drove to the cemetery. Richard Carter's grave stood beneath an oak tree. For months, Emma had refused to visit. Now she carried one photograph. It showed Richard and Eleanor Young, standing outside the public library where they first met. Richard was laughing. Eleanor was pretending not to. On the back, in faded ink, Richard had written, "The day my real life began." Emma placed the photo against his headstone. The wind moved softly through the grass. Amelia stood beside her. "Amelia, what do you feel?" Emma thought for a long time. Emma, sad. A pause. Emma, angry. Another pause. Then she smiled faintly. Emma, and lighter. Amelia took her hand. Emma looked at the grave. Emma, I don't forgive everything. Her voice trembled. Emma, but I won't carry all of it anymore. She touched the headstone. Emma, goodbye, Richard. Then, after a moment, Emma, goodbye, Dad. The two sisters walked away together. Behind them, the photograph remained. A beginning. An ending. A life that could not be repaired, but could still be redeemed. Some families are built by blood. Some are broken by silence. Some are saved by truth arriving almost too late. Richard Carter spent his life chasing power because he thought power could protect love. But love was never protected by money. It was protected by courage, by honesty, by the willingness to say, "I was wrong. I am sorry. I will not let the pain continue through me." Emma Grace Carter inherited a fortune. But the real inheritance was heavier. A name. A truth. A choice. She could have become bitter. She could have disappeared. She could have taken the money and let the Carter family destroy itself. Instead, she turned a dying man's regret into a living promise. And in the end, the will they never expected did more than divide an estate. It revealed a secret. It exposed a family. It healed what pride had buried. And it proved that even the richest man in the world can die poor, if he never learns how to love. But sometimes, even after betrayal, even after silence, even after 30 lost years, grace finds a way home. Thanks for listening to The Will They Never Expected. If this story touched your heart, please like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on notifications so you never miss a new emotional audio drama. Share your thoughts in the comments. Would you have forgiven Richard? Until next time, keep listening, keep feeling, and remember, some stories end, but their lessons stay with us forever.